welcome back to another episode of Rooted and Restored. My name's Lisa Rowe, and I'm here with a guest you've met before, my husband, Rob Rowe. He joined us for our fatherhood conversation, and in that conversation, he touched a little bit on our marriage, and in doing that, it kind of sparked some curiosity in me and what it might look like to invite him back to a different conversation. And so today we're embarking on a two-part series about our marriage, maybe some things that you might relate to if you're in a relationship yourself or you're considering a relationship, or maybe you're just curious about what happens in relationships. So we're going to kind of change over the conversation. I'll start with asking him questions and then he'll respond, and then he'll have the microphone and he'll ask me questions and he'll respond. So sit back, get curious with us, and enjoy the conversation. All right, so welcome to the podcast, Rob. I'm glad you're here, and I know you're feeling a little bit of somewhat kind of excited, but also like what's going to happen. And so I'm really just grateful that you're here and you're willing to kind of be vulnerable with us and allow us into the perspective as my husband and our conversations that we have and the way that we share our hearts and our children and all the things. So I have a series of questions here for you, and I'm going to just jump in. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So the first question that I came with is, what surprised you most about marriage? Maybe something nobody prepared you for.
I would say that the lack of preparation would be on how much it changes from when you're in the starting phases of thinking about getting married and going through all that process. And for us, it was quite an ordeal at the beginning of our marriage. And then going into that and realizing, that there's constant change in it all the time. So that it wasn't going to be just one thing. It was going to be lots of different things, and it was constantly going to be moving.
Oh, that's interesting. And so do you feel like you're disappointed, or do you feel like those changes have offered you something? What is it about that?
No, not disappointed. I think you end up growing from the change of learning each other, and I think what we're getting at with this is that there's never a space of just even keel in marriage. If you're even, I think you're in trouble. You have to be on the growth track whenever you can, because if nobody's communicating and nobody's talking, that's a problem. So always evolving, always learning how to be better for yourself and for your partner, because that's the other piece of it. I would say, some people are very selfish when they go into marriage, possibly. Mm-hmm. And then they have to learn that doesn't necessarily work anymore.
That's interesting to me. I like the part that you shared about constantly evolving. We really believe in that growth mindset in our family, but in our relationship too. And what do you think the biggest growth curve we've had to go through has been?
Oh, I just think our biggest challenges have just been life. I mean, in the time that we've been together, there has been a whole lot that has come at both of us. A lot that I obviously had to deal with early on in our relationship, and working through some of those things, and just life in general, life with 5 children, life with, chaotic schedules, trying to continue to grow, financially, trying to grow, spiritually, trying to grow our kids, worrying about our kids, which is a tremendous stress at times. Mm-hmm. Making sure that everybody's getting what they need. And in a household that's as big as ours, that's a real thing. You actually have to pay attention on a daily basis if somebody is getting what they need or not. And I think we both know how to read all of the kids and see who's maybe slipping out of the focus at times, and making sure that they come back into where they need to be, because it's a real thing with that many children. Mm-hmm. You can feel it in the house if somebody's being left out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing we've talked about a lot is how important it's been to have the same values. And I feel like what you're starting to share is that we have a value as parents to really invest in our children, right? Maybe differently than some of our friends or some other people that we, engage with. And so, how has that been helpful in our marriage to have similar values?
Well, I mean, having similar values towards our children makes for a less chaotic environment in our house. Our kids can't go to one parent or the other and use somebody against the other person. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work ever in
Mm-hmm.
our house. So I think we do that very well. We don't really talk about that. We have never really had to talk about that. But they're getting the same message in both places. There are times where something is said that one of us doesn't agree with, but we talk about that in our own time, in our own space, but most of the time we're on the same page, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps with everything in the house.
Yeah, and it speaks to maybe the beginning part of our relationship when we were just getting to know each other in the places and spaces. How do you think our relationship in particular helped to maybe set a foundation of, understanding each other and the values so that as we grew our family, as we grew our finances, our spiritual life, that those foundational values really stayed kind of present throughout?
Um, I think having the same foundation is something that we both possess, but learning the strengths and weaknesses of each other, knowing when somebody has to take the lead on something versus the other person, and knowing what is that person's strength, because there's things that I'm not good at that you are good at, and it has nothing to do with boys versus girls. It's really just if it's in your wheelhouse or not. And sometimes the touchy feely stuff is not in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I specifically go to you and say, hey, can you talk to this child about this? Because I don't really know what angle to go in on.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did go in on it, the way that I might go about it, I know now that it might not be perceived right. Whereas in my younger years, I would have just said it and not really worried about how it was going to affect the per- particular child. Um, so I think that is how we play off of each other at times.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
In all things, right? Not just raising children, but in all
right.
other aspects of our relationship.
Right. I mean that we're alike in a lot of ways and very different in a lot of ways
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Awesome. Okay. Next question. What's something you've learned about yourself by being married?
Hmm. Well, I've learned that I operate best in a marriage that is rolling in the right direction, that is strong, that I don't have to worry about tomorrow, or um, I don't have to worry about today. That I know where I stand in it, I know where we stand. That is something that I didn't know the value of that, especially years ago. As our marriage has progressed, now I've realized how much that is important to me. It's not, but I've also been able to identify it as this: I don't need you,
Mm-hmm.
but our relationship is needed. Our family is needed. The way that we interact is needed. But I can stand on my own, but I operate better as one with you, with our kids. And like now, that's my strength. So, like, people will ask how you do X, Y, and Z. I do it because I have all this stuff behind me. You know, I'm not by myself. I have a strong foundation. I have a strong family. I have strong thought processes. The things that we deal with on a daily basis, how we handle it, that stuff sets you up to be able to deal with a lot of different things flying in the air.
Mm-hmm. And it's reminding me of some things you said, like when we haven't been strong, you like tell me you haven't had a great day or things have really been like noisy in your head. Could you explore that a little bit with us?
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, really hard to get it back on track until we have a conversation to clear the air or whatever that may look like. And I don't really fight it anymore. I used to be like, whatever, I don't care if this gets fixed. But when it shows up now, I realize, we got to do something to fix this where we're at, because for me, things just don't operate the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't like things out of order. Um, I like to know what's going on. I like to have things laid out. I like to know where I stand in all times. I don't like things all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that things can't be going on like crazy, because that's all it is with us. It's all over the place all the time. Like, I would say it's as much going on as it possibly could be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay because we have a system set up for it to work, and we keep taking things on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're pushing things away. We keep taking on stuff. So it does work. It's just when it's not working in the right direction at times, it's really not okay.
Yeah. So there was a season in our relationship where we would let days, sometimes weeks go by without trying to do what you're saying. When do you think our relationship took a shift and really started accessing what you're sharing?
Um, I get a little emotional on this because I had to do a lot of internal soul seeking um, myself. So when I got myself in a direction where I knew where I was going and what I was doing and how I was going to go about my business on a daily basis, then and I had different things that I was working on, and I had a plan that was laid out for me. Then I started understanding how to, deal with our relationship when there was struggles, and I wasn't bringing stuff to the table that was unnecessary. I brought a lot of unnecessary stuff to our relationship for a long time. So when that stopped, then, you know, we don't get off track as far as what we would at one time, right? Because at one time, I wasn't where I needed to be. So it was, I would bring on the chaos if there was. So I would say when I finally decided to, look at my own weaknesses that I needed to deal with, and those were multiple levels. That wasn't just one thing. There was a lot of different things I had to deal with. I shared last time about, dealing with my father and all of that, and but I had to deal with other things that were going on with me. And when I got through that, uh, then we were able to bring things back into perspective, back into a workable place, uh, most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate your vulnerability, and I think it's really important to identify that like this wasn't how our conversations always have been. And so to hear you be able to go so deep and to really reflect and take some ownership means a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that people know that, it's like when I got emotional about that piece that I was just talking about, it's because it's work. Something cannot, I don't think, and I tell players this like now as athletes, and you cannot get emotional about something unless it means that much to you. it has to mean everything to you in order for someone to try to take it from you. It's, you have to hit that level. You have to be all in 100%. If there's even 90%, it doesn't work. When it's all in, then you see the emotion come out in people. And that's living, right? That's where it's at. That's what the highest level of living is when you're, you can laugh and you can cry and you can get angry all in the same day because you're actually engaged in what's going on. So for me, I had to fight some battles.
Mm. And maybe it's important to maybe identify that if somebody's listening and they have other things distracting them from life, we're talking about marriage today, but it could be anything. I hear you saying that if you're not all in and there's things distracting you, you can almost expect conflict.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my personal opinion on the whole thing. That's how I go about my business. Um, I'm all in everything that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I don't even see the point. I don't even know what the point is. You want to go in 50%, you're going to get 50% back.
Mm. It's good.
And when you give 100%, it doesn't mean you're getting 100% back, right? But you don't have the opportunity. You don't have the opportunity to have a good marriage if you don't give 100% into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're giving 50%, then your return is going to be not very good. And then you're looking in the mirror going, what's going on? What's wrong? Well, what are we giving? What are we putting in? So that piece is like, something that you were talking about that I'm realizing as it goes on, how the marriage works. You got to know the other part. You got to know your partner and what makes them tick.
Ah, so that's interesting because that leads to another good question. When do you feel most connected to me?
I mean, when I would say all the time, but most connected would be um, when I know that like we're going and we're doing the things that matter to you, the things that matter to me, and me. I know you well enough that I know if things are on point. I know if you're getting what you need. I know if you're not as well. It's not. It doesn't take me days. I know like right now. So um, I just think that we know each other well enough to sit there and say if somebody's getting what they need. If you ask me what your love language is or whatever it may be, what you like to do, what you need from me, I know what those things are.
Mm-hmm.
So when something is going well, it's because I'm hitting those places. When things may not be going well, I got to turn back to those things that I know. But most connected is when I know that we're both trying, actively pursuing the things that make the other person um, happy in their daily life.
Mm. How have you learned all those things about me?
Well, some of them you have. Well, that's more than one part question because I learned some of those things from the first part when we first got married. I mean, I think it's something that most people don't do, but we actually went into therapy before we got married, which is now that I look at it, I now I understand it. At the time, I was like, "Are you serious right now? Like we're gonna go and do therapy before we even get married? Like that's what is that?" But we learned a lot about each other at that point, and there was a lot of value in it. So um, that that taught me a lot about what you like and what you don't like, and the things that you like or time spent. Um, you want to make sure that we spend time together, and it doesn't really have to be anything extravagant, but it has to be something where you know you want me to set up things to be able to spend time with you whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it may be, because that is important to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting that you said we had therapy before, but I think it's important to note that we both came from a lot of dysfunction in our own personal lives, failed marriages, right? And so I was in therapy when you met me. And so it was my therapist's recommendation that we go to therapy together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it benefited you. She'd
Yeah.
be proud to know that.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I even think we rode our bike to one of
We
the
did.
didn't we? Oh my gosh.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question. What's a moment in our marriage where you felt proud of us?
Hmm. I don't really think that's a moment. I mean, I'm proud of us like on a daily basis, all the time, all the time, because the obstacles that have been overcome. I mean, there's so many times where our marriage could have been over because of the difficulties of the stress that's around a lot of different things that we deal with. But we never even made it options. It was just go at it and figure out what we have to do to make things better type of deal. So I think that we have so much that goes on and so many different things coming at us that like you have to be proud of what we do on a regular basis. I mean, our kids are trying to do the very best that they can. Um, they're all doing well in school right now. I want to say that they're respectful kids, uh, that they do things the best of their ability. And, I don't even ask my kids, like, I mean, I know you would agree with this, and that is, like, I don't tell my kids you have to get all A's and come home and get all A's. I just tell them, what do we tell them? You have to give your very best effort.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, what is your best? And in turn, they turn around and give you their best, which happens to be that high level of grades. But we always are asking them to do that high level stuff. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our kids doing well in school. I'm proud of them giving, lots of effort in the athletics that they do. I'm proud of the fact that we have to deal with, different families and our kids, um, other parents involved in our lives and different stuff that we deal with. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because a lot of your conversation today is going back to our children. And I think it just goes back to even that first question, like, this is something you and I share value wise, that our children are so important. And you can hear it in your conversation today, and how important that is. And I think another piece of what I'd like to just shape for us in this conversation is that we have chosen to live out loud. I mean, we try to be developmentally appropriate with our children, but our children are not protected. We have very real conversations with them. But I don't want to go into the kid part about it. I want to just bring that back to our marriage. How has having real conversations been productive for us in solving conflict, growing together, that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, you know where you stand. I mean, we've had some really difficult conversations. So I think that the honesty of the conversations and all of that, um, you know, makes you makes you have movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, just in my perspective, I mean, you personally have always like challenged me in a lot of different ways with conversations that, you know, have been better or benefiting to me. And I think I've done the same to you on different topics that we've had. But I mean, we don't really dance around stuff. So, you know, and we don't really, you know, worry whether or not somebody's feelings are getting hurt. If there's issues, right? It's just right at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's benefited me because you have to look right at it and see what you know, what how we're gonna deal with this, how we're gonna deal with that. You got to put a tool in your tool bag and figure it out.
Would you say that that means that there's no secrets?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, secrets are no good. And I don't think that that was at the beginning of our relationship. That wasn't the way that it necessarily was. Just because we had lived separate lives and in different ways and in some not healthy stuff, and that has had to be something that has come as we've gone. But yeah, their secrets are no good.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work.
So, kind of keeping to that, but also growing the conversation. Knowing that secrets are not safe for us, we've decided that's not something, although we both practiced that early on in our relationship, realizing that that vulnerability and transparency is so important. We always can't be together. We always can't know everything about each other. How do we reconnect? Like after a busy week, how do you reconnect to yourself? And then how do you reconnect in our marriage?
Well, you have to be mindful. I mean, it's not just going to happen. So it might be as something as simple as like just personal touch. Like if you come in the door and I go out of my way to make sure I give you a hug, right? Like that means a lot to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's something that, you know, if I'm trying to make the connection daily, that is something that, you know, I need to try to do on a daily basis. Um,
Even if you don't want to.
right. Which sometimes I don't want to,
Right.
right? Because sometimes I'm not a touchy feely person at times. Like, so that's a deal. Me personally, me recharging like after a long week or whatever, um, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what recharge is. I'm charged all the time.
Hmm.
I don't. I have like very few moments throughout the day where I have a little bit of time in the morning. I might look at, you know, I open up the Bible, I listen to some passages and try to grab something off of that to work through the day with, and I'll do that on a daily basis. I'll do that at night. I recharge with that at night, late at night, usually 10:30, 10:45. I'm in my stuff trying to find some juice with some other stuff. That daily happens most of the time you're asleep. I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are my recharge times. Through the point of that time and the end time, it's pretty much go.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's times where we'll try to connect during the day. I think it's important that we try to connect somehow during the day to see how each other is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it comes from you, sometimes it comes from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Intentional.
Right.
It requires some, like you said, mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about one more question? What role does friendship play in our marriage?
Um, well, I think you've heard me say this often. Um, I think our friendship is, for me, it's number one. Like, people might say, oh, you know, I have a lot of friends and this and that. And the reality is, we have a lot of acquaintances. Okay, friendship, that type of thing to me means something deep, in that I don't have that as I've gotten older with tons of people. I have that with you. You know all the little things about me and the things that can reel me back in or why I'm distant or this or that. We're all so busy as adults that, you know, we have lots of acquaintances that we have done a lot of different things with, had business with, had done some fun things with. But friendship, I really, I mean, that would be me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of people that I care about, but I don't speak to them on a daily basis. I don't hang out with them on a daily basis. I don't do kids with them. I don't plan all the stuff that we're doing with our life with them. So um, that would be, our. I think it's one of our strengths
Mm-hmm.
is the friendship.
Yeah, and I didn't hear you say that friendship means we like the same things or that we run the same schedules or that.
We don't
Mm-mm.
like the same things,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. I mean, we're very different in some of those aspects. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just our sleep schedule is like night and day. It's not
Say
even.
more about that.
Yeah, like you go to bed at like you're dead tired at 9 o'clock or even 8 o'clock sometimes, and that's not. I mean, I'm still rolling at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you're like wanting to get up. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you think like everything in the world's going on at 5 a.m. You get up easy. I might get up at that time, but it's not like I'm not enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we do get up early all the time. It just you happen to go to bed a lot earlier than I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in that friendship, there's this building like a bridge between that, right? That we don't have the same sleep schedule, the same hobbies, these sort of things, but we've learned to build a bridge to appreciate these things about each other and not maybe penalize each other for them.
Yeah, I mean we've had our times where we've had our arguments with that too, right? Because you know one person's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go out and do this. We don't really have that problem during school ever,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still early people no matter what. But it's only an hour here, hour there,
Mm-hmm.
give or take.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for listening. If anything stuck with you today, don't leave it there. Journal about it, share about it, talk to somebody about it. These are important conversations. Maybe some of the questions today sparked intrigue inside of you. Ask your partner them tonight. Don't leave this just here in your heart. They're meant for all the places and spaces that live inside of you. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, pass it, pay it forward. We're so grateful you joined us.